if you're going to let Cristiano go, can you replace him? The way that this club is run is wrong. Goals win games. Don't let your ego get in the way of success.
Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H.
All right, so this was a video that I think a lot of people wanted me to do, and obviously I didn't really have time. But I think that what really was a catalyst upon me doing this was an article that I saw, because there was people say, half for Double H, we want you to break down this whole thing that's happening with Real Madrid, which I think is a far bigger issue than merely just getting circumcised at the Camp Nou. It's a far bigger issue than that. So I read an article, and this was again, we assume this is true. Let's just assume that it's true. So the article was where Cristiano spoke to France Football, and he pretty much gave clarifications as to why he wanted to move from Real Madrid and why it was so odd that you just won the Champions League, 2018 Champions League, and you looked the press, and you were the only guy that didn't really look happy. It's very interesting. So basically, it goes way back to 2009. So actually, no, before I get that. So he said that Perez only viewed him as a business asset, and he never really felt wanted by Perez. He never really felt appreciated. He never really felt indispensable. So he felt that for a player who has given so much to Real Madrid, the goals, the performances, the clutch moments, he didn't have that kind of indispensability that a Messi has for a Barcelona, that a Gerrard had for a Liverpool back then, or that, what's like a Maldini had for an AC Milan, or maybe even a Shevchenko, guys that way, no, you are a guy, you are a focal point, we'll do everything to cater for you as a thank you for what you've done for our club. So he never really felt like that. But this goes all the way back to 2009. And again, this is just what I've read and researched. Perez didn't actually want Cristiano. This was already a move that was... again, this is just reports I'm reading. Again, guys, comment below if I'm wrong. Let's have a discussion about it. But I'm just going based on the reports that I've read. That's I think it's Calderon that actually sanctioned and greenlit the transfer for Cristiano. Then when Perez won the presidency, apparently, from what I'm reading, he wanted to veto and stop and block the move. So he didn't really want Cristiano. So that didn't happen. Got a safe face. He was happy to have him there and so forth. So now when it now comes to a point where, all right, look at what I've done. I've helped you. I've been a very, very critical reason as to why we have this fourth Champions League in 5 years. I deserve more cash based on my value and my importance to the team. Value and importance should be reciprocated. Okay, this is my value and importance. I need that. I need that balanced with what I am earning, because that's how life works. That's how the modern world works. So that my value is represented monetarily. If you hardly do anything, you don't do that much. Yeah, take 10,000. We keep that, maybe 5,000. If I'm doing a lot, if we increase value, I deserve 200,000. I deserve 300,000 or 400,000. So the fact that it all came to head and Perez said, no, I am not going to do this. I'm not going to fight to keep you. If you want to leave, boom, I'm not even going to stop you. I think, you see, there is something called, your ego and your job. Those two things should never clash. Because when you come into a job and in your role, your main focus is to do the best you can at that job. What is Perez's job isn't to rub and caress his ego. That's not your job. Your job is to make sure that Real Madrid are profitable. Because again, it is a business, is profitable, but are also winning things. Because this isn't Levante or Sociedad or Betis, where again the main thing is let's be profitable and yeah, let's try and see whether we can win. For Real Madrid, it's almost neck and neck. Where profitable, we are winning things because again we are a European superpower. We've had some of the greatest players ever in history, and we have to be competitive. And our competitiveness feeds into our profitability because the reason why we are profitable and why we sell merchandise and everything is because people view us as a winning club, as a club that wins things, as a great club. So once you wear that white jersey, you're like, nah, this jersey, there's a weight to it, a weight of trophies and victory. So when Perez is in this situation, in his mind is like, okay, I'm not gonna, because it's complex. Because I think in Perez's mind it's like, okay, I'm not gonna beg this guy to stay when I didn't even want this guy. But also, I'm the president. This dude isn't the president. This dude works for me. You work for me. You're not my, you're not the president. You work for me. So that's why he was like, you know what, you can go. But this is where I go back to my point of like, ego and what is best for the club. Perez, you cannot, no matter whether you wanted him or you did not want him, you have to assess the situation. So fair enough, if you're going to let Cristiano go, can you replace him? And the fact is that you as what has been shown, you couldn't replace him because there had to be a replacement soon, immediately. Because when Cristiano left Man United, they were prepared. Ferguson was prepared, and it was a very pleasurable departure to the point where Cristiano can't stop talking about how much he loves Alex Ferguson and how he likes to go back to Old Trafford. So United were very well prepared for Cristiano leaving, and they already knew he was leaving, so they already had. So Ferguson, because he's such a genius and he thinks 5 steps ahead, was like, boom, cool, it's fine. So this wasn't even a thing about the United president or directors having to do anything. Ferguson was like, it's cool, he's leaving, this is what he wants to do. I have a plan in place to get guys who I think can replace him and can do a job. Obviously, that's where you brought in a Robin van Persie and so forth. But I think for Perez, because again, I go back to the summer, because for me, because I was shocked that Cristiano, I was like, you're gonna sell your highest goal scorer, a guy who has broken ridiculous goal scoring records. And yes, you need a team, you need a defender, you need a midfield and everything. Goals win games. Unless that has changed, goals win games. So, and people will tell you this. I think it is a good friend of mine told me this. There's this game called Football Manager, it used to be called Championship Manager, but now it's called Football Manager. And he told me that one of the key things, obviously you need to do many things, but one of the key things to being successful in the game, find yourself a great goal scorer. Obviously you need a good creative midfield, a good defender, but if you get a really good goal scorer, you scout everything, get a really good goal scorer that fits into your team, that is that little thing that will give you that edge of pretty much being successful in the game. So it almost sounds very easy because football is a very complicated sport and there are many things that combine. Very few players can literally dribble past 5 guys and score 3-4 goals because that football doesn't work that way. So you really need a team. But one thing you don't do, this is one thing you don't do. You don't sell your highest goal scorer without a plan B, without something to protect that. And even thinking about this now, this just came to my mind. I really feel that Perez was, you know what? Let us be successful without him. Because for me, because correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't really feel like Real Madrid were really making any real moves in the summer. They didn't really make, did they ever make a bid for Hazard? Did they even make a question? Did they even really query any big names? I think Perez was like, I'm going to bring in Loptegi. I'm going to actually copy the Barcelona templates. We may be rivals, but screw it. You can learn from your rivals. You can learn from your enemies. I'm going to bring in Loptegi. And we're going to copy the Barcelona mind frame because that seems to work. That seems to be successful. And that brand of football seems to yield results and consistency. I'm going to let him coach our team. And we can show that, you know what? We can be competitive and we can survive and thrive without Cristiano. And that was the arrogance from Perez. Thinking that you could sell Cristiano, not replace him, bring in Loptegi, and Loptegi would be able to replicate the kind of success they had with Spain and with Barcelona because of the same systems. And that was a huge mistake. A massive, massive mistake. And it's complicated. Because this is the issue I've always had with Real Madrid for a long time. Ever since I was young, I was like, the way that this club is run is wrong. As in, yes, this club is run like a team that can win multiple Champions League teams based on the kind of players that they have. But this team is not built to win multiple league titles. Hence why, in recent years, their domestic performance has been shocking. For a team of this level and of this standing in the world, forget Europe, in the world, their domestic performance is disgraceful. It's a complete disgrace. And that's because the way that the team is run isn't how you win a league. Like the way Barcelona is run, that's how you win multiple league titles. Because for Barcelona, there is specific coaching. There's a cultivation, because it's a balance. There's a cultivation of talents from the youth academy, plus you're buying players to fit it. But there is an ethos. There is a clear ethos that's about, this is the football that we play, no matter what, come rain or come sunshine. Whatever situation that we're in, home or away in La Liga, we will fall back into this mind frame, which we believe can always get us that goal, get us that equalizer, get us that winning goal. For Real Madrid, they don't have that. So once they're in the trenches against like an Alaves, a Betis, a Levante, a Villarreal, and so forth, they don't really have something to fall back on. They fall back on, let's one of these individuals do something. That was what was the downfall of the Galacticos. Because people are like, wait a minute, Figo can just win us the game. Zidane can just win us the game. Ronaldo can win us the game. Raul can just win us the game. Roberto Carlos can just win us the game. No, you need a team, you need an ethos, you need a system working. Because, yes, Cristiano scored those goals, but Ancelotti, and remember, Zidane worked under Ancelotti because Zidane and Ancelotti were like, no, this is a system that fits this team. And that's what made Ancelotti a great manager, and that's what made Zidane so good, was that I understand what this team is, this system is what fits this team. This is how this team needs to play. This is how I need to coach them. This is how they need to attack this game. This is how they need to really approach it. But again, it's bad management, and that's why the roots of this problem is Perez. Because it comes from the top down. Because remember, this isn't see Fergie, Man United. Fergie was the guy. Fergie was the guy from top to bottom. Fergie was the guy. Fergie had his clothes and everything. So Fergie was like, no, this is how this team is run. This is who we buy. This is how we operate, and this is how we're gonna flow. That is what Fergie was about. Which isn't the same thing with Real Madrid and Perez, because whether it was Loptegi, Zidane, Ancelotti, Perez has the final say. You know? So, because the weird thing is that, because the way that Real Madrid is run under Perez, Barcelona can win the league, can win multiple league titles. Nobody is touching them, because again, the only team that is near their quality is Real Madrid, man for man. So beyond that, Atletico, Sevilla, Alaves, man, they just do not have the talent to be able to outlast Barcelona for the season. But the key thing is that, so what happens now for Real Madrid? Because You say, what is the solution? Perhaps they need a different president, and they need to really go right down to the root that maybe Perez is the wrong man. And I believe, if it's me, Real Madrid's focus should be get your house in order internally, not only within the team, youth system, better coaching, a culture that you can rely on over a 38-game season, but also win some La Liga titles. Start winning some La Liga titles. You've done the Champions League thing. You're the Champions League guys, but again, you have to win at home, because is a Champions League title more important than a La Liga title? I don't know. For me, I've always said that Champions League title, it's the biggest competition. But is it more important? So you have to understand that the Champions League is definitely the bigger competition. Is it more important than winning your La Liga title? And the approach that you take from winning a Champions is very different than the approach that you take from winning a La Liga. Hence why I think there have only been 7 teams who won a treble. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone do a fact check for me. I think there have only been 7 teams in the history of winning a treble, because a treble is so hard to do, because you have to be in a different frame of mind when you're in the Champions League from when you are in a league, because a league is very tough. A Champions League is tough in different ways based on the small margin of error. A league is tough in a different way based on just how many games come thick and fast and the concentration levels that they need, where if you slip or you underestimate a team, boom, you're down to against Real Sociedad, and boom, you say, what the hell? How the hell do we lose to these guys? How the hell do we lose to Leganes? How the hell do we lose to Alaves? That's what a league can be. So I think, for Real Madrid, man, I mean, it was a big mistake selling Cristiano without a plan in place. You see, if you had sold Cristiano, and let's just say you'd got Neymar, you got Hazard, Royce, Lewandowski, for me, I'd be like, okay, you're going into a new era. If he doesn't want to stay, you're going into a new era. But if you sell Cristiano and you get to nobody, and you believe Bale can step up, Benzema can step up, you're having a laugh. Because say all you want about Cristiano, that guy was a goal machine, and that guy delivered for Real Madrid. And if I was Perez and I don't have a plan in place, bro, Cristiano, whatever you need, we'll give it to you, because we have to be competitive. And I'm going into the summer to try and get more players to play and support around you. But what I don't do is, if I don't have a plan in place, I'll be like, oh, no, it's cool. Nah, man, I'm robbing my ego. You can go. We don't need you. I'm bigger than you. Look at this situation you're in. Because again, this isn't Lopetegui's fault. So that's a wrong thing. So people like Ramos and Perez, and people say, nah, Lopetegui was a guy. You hired Lopetegui. You knew what he was about. You knew what his system was. You knew what his managerial style was. And Lopetegui didn't have a Cristiano to lean on. He didn't have those goals to lean on. Would Zidane be successful? How well would Zidane be doing without Cristiano and this team, without any new players? Don't let your ego get in the way of success. Thanks for watching the video. Now think about becoming a Football Hot patron by pledging an amount each month, and then gain access to exclusive content only on the Football Hot patron page. Peace. Thanks for watching the video. For even more analysis, head over to the official site at halffootballhot.com, or just click over here.